Hi folks, Dr. Jim Gishwin here. There's a lot of stuff to cover today, but I got to keep it under 10 minutes because anything more than that, and there's too many megabytes for some of the sites I upload this to. Got a lot to talk about. So what about is the White House, the People's House, now the crack house? That's unusual. And it's unusual with all those cameras. Every square inch of that place is covered. Trust me, I'm from D.C. Everything is covered, and it was not in the tourist route. So let's see what happens. You all know what's going on here. I mean, you're not stupid. And I'm certainly not stupid. Okay? So, the cover-up starts. Saw an excellent interview with Robert F. Kennedy. Okay? And in case you're wondering, there's a documentary out on the JFK assassination that provides a lot of proof of different things. I'm not going to tell you what they are. You'd be fascinated by it. Okay? It said from JFK to 9/11, what the government conceals from us. So anyway, it's not a conspiracy theory. Okay, I can tell you that much. It's been verified by a number of people. They got all sorts of whistleblowers. Speaking of whistleblowers, this is ridiculous. Now they're going to sit there and impeach. Well, that's not ridiculous that they're going to impeach Merrick Garland. But he's not the guy doing it. It was, what's her name, his assistant deputy in the Justice Department, so he could be cushioned. He had plausible deniability. But then the FBI does not have plausible deniability. They do not. Christopher Wray, man, you're in trouble. We need to sit there and shake that place up, top to bottom. And they'll probably come to my house now just because I said that. We got China telling its people to get ready for war. We're not ready. We have no longer an industrial military complex. We can't make all this stuff. We're emptying the shelves of stuff we have already made to give to Ukraine. So when the big time comes, we ain't got nothing. Okay? Or very little. So, pray for that. You know what their intentions are. Heck, they closed down a police station, a Chinese police station in New York that was policing our American Chinese citizens. All right, let's get through that. You all know about the Hunter Biden laptop thing. We don't need to go into it any further. That thing was so full of all sorts of incriminating stuff. And we found out that the FBI went in, and when he sat there and signed all that paperwork to buy the gun, the Secret Service went in and took the paperwork. So, it continues. And whistleblowers are coming out in droves. I mean, the dam has busted. And that, let me talk about that court ruling. It was a injunction for the government not to go near any social media or newspaper items and doing things that they're not allowed to do. In other words, this judge is telling the government, you cannot contract out to civilians what the Constitution says you can't do. It's just not going to be done. Of course, the Biden administration, when they lost that court ruling on the immigration stuff, they're still doing hold, catch, and release. They're still doing it. They ignore them. And Harvard, when they had that ruling that was discriminatory against Asians and others because of their legacy people, heck, Harvard's got like a $100 million daggone endowment fund. They got money out the yazoo. I'm taking a Harvard extension course right now, by the way. And I tell my students, I said, you take an extension course while you're in my class, I'll give you extra credit. Anyway, that ruling was right on, man. The judge spoke his piece. He said, man, you're putting us in an Orwellian situation. The government is not allowed to censor. Not allowed at all. Oh, well, we have to be able to fight back. You should see the liberals are on fire. They're just running around. And trust me, the liberals, they're not liberals. I explained this to you before. They're progressives, but that progressive term came when these people in the early 20s and 30s was looking at Soviet Union and admiring them. Okay, so they were communists. They are communists. They're Marxist communists. Right? They're trying to take every freedom you have away, and they're trying to do it through the back door. It's just like your gun rights. Okay? Your gun rights, yeah, it's okay for you to buy a gun. Yeah, but government buys up all the ammunition, you ain't getting nothing to put in it. And that's what they're doing. Why did they need 4.5 million rounds for the IRS? In Health and Human Services and things like that. They're buying it all up. That's why there's a brass shortage. There's ammunition shortage for everything. Okay. If you're preppers out there, you may be spot on. It's coming, baby. Hard times are coming. And the Supreme Court rulings, they have affirmed the First Amendment. I wish they would sit there and get that injunction for the government not to interfere and not to censor things up to the Supreme Court and fast track it. They can fast track it. They don't have to sit there and go through lower court appeals. They can fast track it right on up there, because that definitely deals with our constitutional rights. Anything the government can't do, these turkeys are sitting there doing by going around the bend. I teach my students, I said, power is up here. Absolute power tries to gain more power. You are down here. We are down here. Our rugged individualism, our belief in God, our virtues fight back against that. Always keeps that pressure on. However, the power tries to ooze around the edges. You ever notice that? If you tried that with two pieces of wood and some sort of gooey stuff, it'll seep out the sides, won't it? That's what power is doing right now in our country. I would like to sit there and leave you with dire predictions. I predict a lot of chaos in the future. I think we're past the point where we can repair a lot of stuff. Because once government gets to do something, it's hard to take that away from them. Okay? It's just like, if that's how our revolution started, is we had certain rights that we assumed because Britain was way over there and we were way over here, and they left us alone until the French and Indian War, and then their bank went bust, and they sat there and said, well, let's tax these bozos. So, that's how government works. That's how power works. You have to bring power back up. And I'm afraid. Yes, I'm afraid. Military veteran of three services. And I can't sit there and foresee a time when certain states try to secede again. And I don't know what that would entail. It's hard to tell. But the dividing line is no longer so clear. Okay? They are so far apart. We got communists ruling us, and we're fighting back. I swore to defend the Constitution many times in my life, from enemies without and within. I'm an old fart. I don't know if I can get to the other part, but I'm afraid that might come to it. Why do you think they're trying to sit there and ban guns? Every autocratic government, every tyrant that's ever lived, first thing they did was try and disarm their public. An armed public, and that's why our founding fathers put that Second Amendment in there, because it's the biggest obstacle to their total control is an armed populace. So get armed. I love y'all. Take care. and I remain your loving servant.